Hello, and welcome to another gentle journey on Sleepy Professor Stories. Tonight, you are invited to drift into the wide, quiet world of the ocean, guided by the presence of a single, remarkable animal. Somewhere beneath the surface, far from shore and noise, a blue whale moves slowly through water that has shaped life for millions of years. This journey is not about rushing toward answers, but about resting beside a simple question: how something so vast can breathe, move, and thrive with such calm grace. As we explore, you may notice how ideas of size and strength begin to soften, replaced by patience, balance, and time. Understanding the blue whale becomes a gentle way of understanding how nature holds even its largest lives with care. If you find comfort in these slow explorations, you are always welcome to support the channel in any quiet way that feels right to you. A like, a subscription, or a kind comment can help this calm space reach others who may also be looking for rest and gentle learning. There is no pressure at all, only an open invitation, just like the ocean itself. For now, there is nothing you need to focus on or remember. You don't need to follow every detail or hold on to every thought. Allow your breathing to slow in its own time. Let your shoulders soften, your jaw loosen, and your body sink comfortably into stillness. If your attention drifts, that's perfectly fine. Like waves along a distant shore, thoughts can come and go without effort. You are safe to simply listen, or to rest, or to drift somewhere in between. Let's begin. You begin by imagining the ocean not as a place you must understand, but as a space you are simply allowed to rest beside. It stretches outward in every direction, calm and patient, holding its depth without explanation. Somewhere within this wide blue quiet, a blue whale moves, not with urgency, but with the steady ease of something that has never needed to hurry. You are not watching an animal so much as witnessing a moving horizon, a presence that feels more like landscape than life, unfolding slowly in the water. As you picture it, there is no sudden reveal. The whale does not appear all at once. First, there is a sense of scale, almost too large to register, like a distant mountain seen through morning haze. Its body spans lengths that the human mind rarely holds comfortably, yet the ocean carries it without strain. Water supports its weight the way air supports clouds, distributing pressure gently, endlessly. There is nothing dramatic about this support. It is quiet physics at work, density and buoyancy in a calm agreement that allows something immense to drift with grace. You notice how the whale moves forward, not by force, but by rhythm. A slow sweep of the tail sends a long, rolling wave through its body, traveling from muscle to water and outward into space. This motion is efficient, refined by countless generations that found calm to be more sustainable than speed. The whale does not rush because it does not need to. Energy is conserved here, measured carefully, like breath taken only when necessary. As the whale glides, the ocean around it seems to widen. Smaller fish scatter not in panic, but in gentle awareness, sensing pressure changes long before contact. Sound moves faster than light here, and the whale's presence is felt before it is seen. Low vibrations ripple through the water, subtle signals of mass and motion. To you, imagining this, it feels like standing near a slow-moving train before it arrives, sensing it through the ground rather than through sight. There is a softness in how the whale exists within its surroundings. Despite its size, it does not dominate the ocean. It shares space, passing through layers of water that differ in temperature and density, each one guiding movement slightly differently. Warm surface waters cradle the top of its body, while colder depths brush against its underside. These gradients shape its path without resistance, like invisible hands offering direction without command. You might expect such a large creature to feel heavy, but in water, heaviness changes meaning. Gravity still exists, but it is balanced by upward force, allowing mass to spread out and rest. The whale's bones are dense, its muscles powerful, yet none of this presses downward the way it would on land. Instead, everything is suspended. This suspension allows stillness even while moving, a floating calm that mirrors the slow settling of your own body as you listen. There is nothing you need to do here. You are simply present with the image, letting it unfold. Your breathing can slow naturally, matching the unhurried pace of the scene. Like the whale, you are supported, held by something larger, without effort or strain. As the whale continues forward, its skin catches the light filtering down from above. Sunlight fractures into soft bands as it passes through the surface, breaking into shifting patterns that slide along the whale's back. The color is not bright, but muted blues and grays, tones that belong to depth and distance. Scars trace pale lines across its body, records of past encounters with ice, with other whales, with time itself. These marks are not signs of weakness, but quiet evidence of longevity. You begin to sense how old this presence feels, not just in years, but in continuity. Blue whales are part of a lineage that has navigated changing oceans, shifting climates, and moving continents. Their form is shaped by water, by the need to breathe air while living below the surface, by the balance between size and efficiency. Every curve of the body reflects this long conversation with the environment, a dialogue that continues without words. The whale does not look toward you, and because there is no you in its world. There is only current, pressure, sound, and the steady internal awareness that guides movement. This absence of self-consciousness feels restful to imagine. There is no performance here, no display, just being, unfolding moment by moment. As it approaches the surface, the water brightens slightly. You sense the transition before it happens. The whale's body angles upward, slow and deliberate, conserving energy even in ascent. When it breaks the surface, the sound of breath is powerful but brief. Air rushes in and out, exchanging gases in lungs built to handle immense volume. This breath is efficient, quick, and calm, a reminder that even the largest lives rely on simple exchanges repeated over time. After breathing, the whale slips back beneath the surface, leaving only widening rings on the water. These ripples spread outward, then fade, absorbed into the larger movement of the sea. Nothing lingers for long. The ocean smooths itself, returning to quiet. You may notice how this feels in your own body, the way attention rises and falls, the way thoughts surface and submerge. There is no need to follow them closely. Like the whale, you can allow them to pass without effort. The whale continues on, deeper now, where light softens and colors fade. Here, the world becomes quieter, insulated by water. Sound travels far, but gently, bending around obstacles, carrying information without sharp edges. The whale exists comfortably in this low-light calm, guided by senses attuned to pressure and vibration rather than sight. Its world is shaped by feeling more than by image. As you imagine this depth, you may feel your own awareness drifting inward. Muscles loosen. The space around you feels less defined, more expansive. You are not sinking, just settling, finding a place of balance. The ocean does not ask the whale to prove anything. It simply holds it, moment after moment. This holding is not passive. It is active support, a constant exchange of forces that remain invisible unless you pause to notice them. In the same way, you are held by the surface beneath you, by the air around you, by rhythms you rarely need to name. The whale moves on, unbothered by distance. For it, space is not something to cross quickly, but something to inhabit fully. Each meter of water carries subtle differences, small changes that guide behavior gently. This attentiveness without tension feels like wisdom earned over long time. As the chapter draws to a close, the whale remains in motion, a calm presence fading gradually into the wide blue around it. You are left not with answers, but with a feeling of scale and patience, a sense that life does not need to be loud to be strong. Ahead, there is more to notice, beginning with where such an immense journey first starts, in the quiet openness of birth and early growth, waiting just beyond this calm horizon. You begin to sense that size, in the ocean, does not mean what it does on land. Here, enormity is not loud or overwhelming. It is quiet, spread out, carefully balanced. As you imagine the blue whale moving through water, its vast body feels less like a single object and more like a system in gentle agreement with its surroundings. Nothing about it is excessive. Every part exists in proportion, attuned over time to rest easily within the sea. The whale's weight, which on land would be unmanageable, dissolves into something softer once submerged. Water presses in from all sides, lifting as much as it holds. This constant upward support changes how mass behaves. Bones that are dense and strong no longer feel heavy in the same way. Muscles that could crush under gravity instead relax into suspension. The ocean shares the work, distributing force evenly so that size becomes something that can float rather than something that must be carried. You may picture how this feels in your own body, the difference between standing upright and lying back, fully supported. Tension fades when weight is shared. The whale exists in that state continuously, never needing to brace or strain. Its body stretches out, long and smooth, and with no sharp edges to catch resistance. The shape itself is a quiet equation, one that solves the problem of moving something immense through a dense medium with minimal effort. As the whale glides forward, the water parts gently around it. There is no splash, no disturbance that lingers. Flow lines curve along its sides, slipping past with little friction. This smoothness is not accidental. Over countless generations, forms that wasted energy disappeared, while those that conserved it endured. The result is motion that feels almost effortless, even though powerful muscles are working beneath the surface, contracting slowly, deliberately. Inside the whale, the distribution of mass is carefully arranged. The heaviest structures sit low, stabilizing movement. Lighter tissues spread outward, softening transitions between muscle and water. This internal balance keeps the whale steady, preventing rolling or tipping. It is a kind of quiet engineering, shaped not by tools or plans, but by time responding patiently to what works best. You notice how movement unfolds in waves. A single motion of the tail sends energy traveling the length of the body, dissipating gradually into the surrounding water. Nothing stops abruptly. Everything fades. This gradual release protects the whale from strain and allows motion to continue smoothly. The ocean receives this energy and carries it away, just as your own thoughts can be carried off when you stop holding them tightly. There is nothing you need to calculate here. The mathematics of size operates without numbers, expressed through feeling and flow. Pressure increases with depth, but the whale's body is prepared for it. Lungs compress as it dives, reducing buoyancy naturally and preventing damage. Air spaces shrink, not in panic, but in cooperation with the surrounding water. This compression makes deeper movement easier, not harder, allowing the whale to sink gently without effort. As depth increases, light softens. Color drains away, leaving calm gradients of blue and gray. The whale's size becomes harder to judge here, blending into the vastness around it. Without reference points, enormity loses its drama. It simply exists. This quiet anonymity feels restful, like being wrapped in darkness that asks nothing of you. You might imagine how much energy such a body requires, but again, the ocean reframes the question. Large size brings advantages here. Heat is retained more efficiently, allowing the whale to maintain warmth in cold waters. A slower metabolism becomes possible, reducing the need for constant feeding. The very scale that seems demanding actually simplifies survival, smoothing out extremes and creating stability over time. The whale's heart beats slowly, sending blood through an immense network of vessels. Each beat moves large volumes efficiently, without hurry. Circulation matches scale, adapting to distance without increasing speed. This slow rhythm supports calm endurance rather than bursts of effort. Listening to this imagined pulse, you may find your own breathing easing, lengthening naturally. As the whale travels, it encounters layers of water with different temperatures and densities. These layers interact with its body subtly, lifting here, guiding there. Movement adjusts without conscious thought, guided by sensation rather than calculation. This responsiveness allows size to remain flexible, never rigid or resistant. Even something enormous can adapt moment by moment. There is a gentleness in how mass meets motion. The whale does not push the ocean aside so much as negotiate with it. Pressure waves spread outward, informing other creatures of its approach. Nothing collides unexpectedly. Space opens in advance. The sea participates, making room, smoothing passage. You may feel how this idea of balance extends beyond biology. Size, here, is not about dominance, but about fitting into a system that supports it. When everything aligns, effort decreases. Movement becomes quieter. Survival feels less like struggle and more like continuation. As the whale ascends again, buoyancy returns gradually. Expanding air increases lift, slowing the rise naturally. There is no rush to the surface. Timing is precise, but unhurried. Breathing happens when it needs to, not before, not after. The ocean and the body remain in conversation, each adjusting to the other. You are free to let your own thoughts rise and fall in the same way. There is nothing you need to solve. You can trust that balance will return on its own. The whale's immense body passes through the water once more, leaving only faint disturbances that fade quickly. Nothing about its passage scars the sea. Everything closes behind it, smooth and calm. Size leaves no trace when it moves in harmony. As this chapter settles, you are left with a quiet understanding that enormous does not have to mean overwhelming. In the ocean, size becomes a gentle agreement between weight and lift, between effort and ease. Ahead, this balance begins long before such magnitude is reached, in beginnings that are small, vulnerable, and held just as carefully by the same wide sea. You find yourself waiting at the boundary where two worlds meet, where water releases its hold and air begins again. The surface of the ocean is calm, rising and falling gently, never quite still, never demanding attention. Below it, the blue whale moves with quiet certainty, aware of this boundary not as an obstacle, but as a familiar rhythm woven into its life. Breathing here is not a struggle for survival. It is a practiced return, a simple exchange that has repeated for countless years. As the whale approaches the surface, its movement slows even further. There is no rush. Oxygen is managed carefully within the body, stored and released with patience. Blood carries it efficiently, guided by a heart that beats slowly and deliberately. This internal timing allows the whale to wait, to choose the moment of surfacing without urgency. The ocean gives space for this pause, holding the whale gently as it prepares to rise. You imagine the angle of the body changing almost imperceptibly. The head lifts slightly, guided by sensation rather than sight. Pressure eases as the whale ascends, and the water grows brighter. Light scatters across the surface, forming soft patterns that shift and dissolve. The boundary draws closer, not as a line, but as a gradual transition, like waking from a dream without fully opening your eyes. When the whale breaks the surface, the moment is brief and precise. The blowhole opens and air moves in and out in a single, powerful breath. Warm vapor rises and disappears, carried away by the breeze. This breath is efficient, replacing much of the air in the lungs at once. There is no gasping, no excess movement, just a clean exchange, practiced and calm. You notice how this moment feels almost ceremonial. The whale does not linger above the surface longer than necessary. It takes what it needs and releases what it does not, trusting that the next breath will come when the time is right. There is wisdom in this restraint, a balance between need and patience that feels deeply restful to imagine. The lungs of the blue whale are built for this rhythm. They are large but flexible, capable of collapsing safely under pressure during deep dives. This collapse protects delicate tissues and prevents gases from entering the bloodstream in harmful ways. When the whale surfaces again, the lungs re-expand smoothly, welcoming air without resistance. The body knows how to transition between worlds without damage or stress. As you listen, your own breathing may begin to soften. There is nothing you need to control. Inhale when it feels natural. Exhale when it feels complete. Like the whale, you can trust your body to manage the exchange on its own. The rhythm does not need to be perfect. It only needs to be kind. Between breaths, the whale rests just beneath the surface. Its back rises slightly, catching light before sinking again. This pause allows oxygen to move through the bloodstream, feeding muscles and organs quietly. Carbon dioxide is carried away, released without thought. The process is automatic, refined by time and repetition, requiring no conscious effort. You imagine how different this boundary is from your own. For the whale, air is visited briefly, water is home. For you, air is constant, water an occasional immersion. Yet here, at this imagined surface, the difference softens. Both worlds feel gentle, both feel supportive. The exchange between them feels less like a division and more like a conversation. Sound behaves differently at the surface. Below, vibrations travel far and wide. Above, they scatter quickly into open space. When the whale exhales, the sound is momentary, a low rush that fades almost immediately. Silence returns. The ocean smooths itself, erasing the trace of passage. Nothing insists on being remembered. The whale dives again, guided by gravity and intention. As it descends, air leaves the lungs gradually, reducing buoyancy and easing the downward motion. This release is controlled, allowing the body to slip beneath the surface without resistance. The water closes overhead, dimming the light, restoring the quiet pressure that the whale knows so well. You may feel this descent as a settling within yourself. Muscles loosen, thoughts drift. There is no need to follow them closely. Like bubbles rising from a distant place, they reach the surface and vanish on their own. Each dive and resurfacing forms a gentle cycle. Oxygen in, carbon out, rise, pause, descend. This cycle shapes the whale's day and night, guiding feeding, rest, and movement across vast distances. There is comfort in this predictability. The body trusts the rhythm, and the rhythm sustains the body. Over time, this breathing pattern allows the whale to remain submerged for long periods without distress. Oxygen is stored not only in the lungs, but in the blood and muscles, bound carefully and released slowly. This storage supports patience, allowing the whale to move and feed without frequent returns to the surface. Efficiency replaces urgency. You might imagine how this patience feels. There is no clock ticking loudly here. Time stretches gently, marked only by internal cues rather than external demands. The whale surfaces when it needs to, not when it is told to. This autonomy feels deeply calming. As the chapter draws on, you remain at this boundary, watching breath become ritual rather than reaction. The surface is no longer a barrier, but a familiar threshold crossed with ease. The whale continues its slow pattern, rising and falling, teaching without words that survival does not have to be hurried. Soon, attention begins to drift toward what happens between these breaths. During the long stretches beneath the surface, where motion continues and rest begins to blur. There, in the quiet below, another rhythm waits to be noticed, unfolding gently in the calm space between one breath and the next. You drift inward now, away from the wide movements of water and breath, towards something quieter and deeper. Inside the immense body of the blue whale, there is a rhythm that does not rush to meet the world. It keeps its own time, steady and unhurried, beating softly within layers of muscle and bone. This heart does not need to prove its strength. Its power is expressed through patience, through consistency, through the calm confidence of repetition. As you imagine this heartbeat, you may expect it to feel overwhelming, but instead, it feels slow and grounded. Each beat travels through an enormous network of vessels, carrying warmth and oxygen across great internal distances. The pace is gentle, measured, allowing blood to move efficiently without strain. There is no urgency here, no quickening unless it is truly needed. The heart trusts the body it serves, and the body responds in kind. Time stretches differently inside such a large form. Signals take longer to travel. Changes unfold gradually. This slowness is not a flaw, but an adaptation that brings stability. A slower heartbeat reduces energy use, conserves resources, and supports long periods of calm activity. The whale's heart has learned that endurance depends on restraint, not speed. You may notice how this idea settles into your own listening. There is nothing you need to match or control. Your own heartbeat can be whatever it is. The sound of these words does not ask for effort. It only invites awareness, a gentle noticing of rhythm without judgment. The heart of the blue whale is proportioned carefully to its size. Large chambers hold and release blood in generous volumes, reducing the need for frequent beats. Valves open and close with quiet precision, guiding flow smoothly forward. Everything is arranged to minimize resistance, allowing movement to continue without friction. This internal design supports calm longevity rather than bursts of exertion. As the whale dives, its heart responds by slowing further. This change is subtle, guided by reflex rather than thought. Blood flow shifts, prioritizing the brain and heart itself, while less urgent regions wait patiently. Oxygen is used sparingly, released only where it matters most. This careful management allows the whale to remain submerged for long periods, moving through the deep without distress. You imagine the stillness of those moments, deep below the surface, where light fades and sound softens. The heart continues its slow work, unaffected by darkness or pressure. It does not speed up in fear. It does not falter. It simply continues, marking time in a way that feels ancient and reliable. There is comfort in this predictability. The whale does not need to think about its heart, and you do not need to think about yours. Both carry on, quietly supporting life while attention drifts elsewhere. This background constancy creates space for rest, for movement without tension. When the whale rises toward the surface again, the heart adjusts once more. The pace increases slightly, just enough to support the changing demands of breathing and motion. This adjustment is smooth, unforced. Nothing jolts or strains. The transition feels like waking gently from sleep, awareness returning without shock. You may feel how this mirrors your own state. Thoughts come and go. Attention sharpens and softens. Through it all, the body maintains its quiet work. There is nothing you need to supervise. Everything essential continues on its own. Over years and decades, this steady rhythm supports an extraordinarily long life. Blue whales can live for many decades, their hearts beating countless times without hurry. Each beat contributes to a continuity that stretches across generations. This longevity is not achieved through constant effort, but through balance, through knowing when to act and when to remain still. The heart also responds to sound. Vibrations in the water, including the low calls of other whales, can influence internal rhythms subtly. These sounds travel far, carrying information without urgency. The whale's heart listens in its own way, adjusting gently, remaining calm within a connected world. You imagine the vast distances this heart supports, pumping blood from head to tail across a body longer than many rooms laid end to end. Despite the distance, delivery remains reliable. Pressure is managed carefully, ensuring that even farthest tissues receive what they need. This quiet reliability feels reassuring, like knowing that something important is always being taken care of. As this chapter unfolds, time seems to slow further. The idea of minutes and hours loses importance. What matters is rhythm, the repeating pattern that holds everything together. The whale's heart does not count days. It responds only to need, to depth, to movement, to rest. You are welcome to let your own sense of time soften as well. There is nowhere you need to be, nothing you need to remember. If your thoughts wander, they can wander safely, returning when they choose. The heart continues, steady and calm, whether the whale is feeding, traveling, or resting. It does not celebrate moments of activity or mark moments of quiet as lesser. All states are supported equally. This evenness allows life to unfold without tension. As the chapter draws gently toward its close, the heart remains at work, unseen and uncelebrated, yet essential. Its slow rhythm becomes a backdrop for everything that follows. Ahead, there is movement shaped by nourishment, by the way energy enters the body and is transformed, beginning with the quiet act of feeding that waits patiently in the wide, open water beyond this steady pulse. You drift now into a quieter kind of movement where nourishment is not a chase, but a meeting. The ocean opens wide, not as a place of scarcity, but as a patient field where food gathers gently, shaped by currents and seasons. The blue whale moves within this space with calm assurance, knowing that what it needs will be there, arriving in its own time. Feeding here is not about pursuit. It is about alignment. As the whale glides forward, its immense body remains relaxed. There is no sudden acceleration, no sharp turn. Instead, it follows subtle signals in the water, faint changes in density and temperature that hint at abundance ahead. These signals are not urgent alarms. They are quiet invitations, guiding movement without pressure. The whale listens with its whole body, responding slowly or deliberately. You imagine clouds of tiny life suspended in the water, drifting together in vast numbers. Individually, they are small and fragile, almost insignificant. Together, they form something sustaining. The ocean gathers them patiently, concentrating them through currents that spiral and rise. This gathering takes time, unfolding over days and weeks, until nourishment becomes available in generous measure. When the whale reaches this living cloud, it does not rush in. Its mouth opens slowly, expanding to an astonishing size, creating space rather than force. Water flows in, carrying food with it. This movement is smooth, controlled, guided by anatomy shaped for efficiency rather than speed. The whale is not grabbing, it is receiving. As water enters, flexible plates inside the mouth begin their quiet work. They form a filter, allowing water to escape while holding food back. The whale closes its mouth gently, then presses water out again, leaving nourishment behind. This process repeats calmly, rhythmically, like breathing slowed even further. Each cycle is deliberate, conserving energy while gathering what is needed. You may notice how this feels different from urgency. There is no competition here, no scramble. The whale does not need to eat constantly. Its size allows it to take in large amounts at once, then rest, digest, and continue on its way. This pattern supports long periods of calm movement, uninterrupted by hunger or haste. The muscles involved in feeding are powerful, yet they move slowly, controlled by nerves that favor steadiness over speed. Energy expenditure is carefully balanced against intake. This balance is what allows such a large body to thrive on such small prey. The mathematics of feeding here is gentle, precise, and remarkably effective. As the whale feeds, the ocean remains undisturbed. Water that is pushed aside flows back in softly. The cloud of life reshapes itself, not collapsing, but thinning gradually. Nothing is wasted. The whale takes only what it needs, leaving enough behind for the cycle to continue. The sea and the whale participate together, each supporting the other. You might imagine how this cooperation feels in your own body. Nourishment arriving without effort, needs being met without strain. There is nothing you need to chase right now. Like the whale, you are allowed to receive. Digestion begins slowly once feeding pauses. Food moves through a long internal pathway, broken down patiently. The nutrients are absorbed over time, fueling muscles, organs, and warmth. This process does not demand attention. It unfolds quietly, supporting life in the background while the whale continues to drift. The ocean itself seems to encourage this pace. Currents move slowly at depth, carrying life along predictable paths. Seasons shift gradually, influencing where food gathers and when. The whale responds to these patterns instinctively, migrating without hurry, trusting that nourishment will appear as it always has. As you imagine this slow abundance, your own breathing may mirror the rhythm. Inhale gently, exhale fully. There is no schedule to meet, nothing to optimize. The body understands how to take in what it needs when given the chance. Feeding without hurry also reduces risk. Slow movements minimize injury. Calm presence avoids startling other creatures unnecessarily. Everything about this approach favors longevity over intensity. The whale's life stretches across decades, supported by countless quiet meals taken without rush. When feeding is complete, the whale does not linger. It closes its mouth, settles back into smooth motion, and moves on. Fullness does not demand celebration. It simply becomes another steady state, one that supports continued travel and rest. You remain with this feeling of sufficiency. Enough has been gathered. Enough has been given. The ocean continues its slow work behind the scenes, preparing the next quiet offering. Nourishment fades into the background, becoming part of the whale's steady strength. Ahead, movement continues across great distances, guided not by hunger, but by ancient paths written softly into water, waiting to be followed in their own unhurried time. You begin to sense sound before you try to understand it. In the ocean, sound does not behave the way it does in air. It travels farther, moves more patiently, and lingers as if the water itself is listening. Somewhere below the surface, a blue whale releases a low, steady call. It does not rush outward. It spreads gently, unfolding through the water like a memory drifting back into awareness. These sounds are not sharp or demanding. They are slow vibrations, shaped by the whale's immense body and the density of the sea around it. Water carries them easily, guiding them across distances that sight could never reach. Long before another whale appears, the sound arrives first, announcing presence without insistence. It says only that something is here, moving calmly, alive. You imagine the whale suspended in the deep, its body relaxed, its breath already taken. The sound begins within, formed as air moves past structures designed to shape tone rather than volume. This voice does not strain. It flows outward, carried by pressure and motion, shaped by the surrounding water as much as by the whale itself. The ocean becomes part of the message. As the sound travels, it bends gently around obstacles. It slides along underwater ridges, passes through layers of different temperature, and continues on. Nothing blocks it completely. Distance softens. What might feel far away in another world feels close here, connected by vibration rather than sight. The ocean closes gaps quietly. These songs are not constant. They emerge when needed, then fade. Silence follows, not as absence, but as rest. The whale does not fill every moment with sound. It allows space, trusting that what has been sent will arrive when it arrives. This patience feels deliberate, practiced over generations. You may notice how different this feels from human communication. There is no interruption here, no urgency to respond immediately. A sound can travel for minutes, even longer, before reaching another listener. The response may come much later, or not at all. And still, the exchange remains meaningful. Presence does not depend on speed. The frequencies of these calls are low, tuned to move efficiently through water. Lower tones lose less energy as they travel, allowing messages to persist across great distances. This choice is not conscious, but evolved, shaped by what works best in a vast environment. Over time, voices that traveled farther mattered more. The ocean rewarded calm persistence. You imagine other whales far away, feeling these vibrations not just with their ears, but with their bodies. Sound here is physical. It presses gently against skin and bone, registering as sensation as much as hearing. The message is felt, not just heard. It becomes part of the water moving around them. These songs may change slowly over time. Patterns shift, tones adjust, rhythms evolve. Each population carries its own variations, shaped by shared space and history. Learning happens through listening, through repetition, through patience. Nothing is rushed. Change unfolds gradually, like tides altering a shoreline. The ocean seems to hold these sounds long after they are made. Echoes linger, overlapping gently with new calls. The water becomes layered with voices, past and present blending together. It feels less like conversation and more like a shared atmosphere filled with quiet signals of life continuing. As you imagine this soundscape, your own awareness may soften. There is nothing you need to listen for specifically. You can allow the idea of sound to wash over you without focusing too closely. Like distant music heard through walls, it can be present without demanding attention. Communication here does not rely on facial expression or gesture. It exists beyond sight, beyond light. In darkness or depth, sound becomes the primary way of knowing others are near. This reliance creates trust in unseen connections. The whale does not need to see to understand that it is not alone. When whales travel across oceans, these sounds help maintain loose bonds across space. Individuals may not remain together, yet their voices connect them across miles of water. This connection is gentle, flexible, allowing separation without isolation. Togetherness does not require closeness. You may sense how comforting this idea can be. Connection without pressure, presence without constant contact. The ocean allows relationships to breathe, to stretch, to exist quietly. Sound also reflects the environment back to the whale. Echoes reveal distance, shape, and movement. The whale learns about its surroundings through returning vibrations, forming an internal map built from feeling rather than image. Navigation becomes intuitive, guided by tone and delay rather than landmarks. This awareness supports calm movement. The whale does not need to rush into unknown space. The water speaks back, offering information without alarm. Everything remains measured, deliberate. As the whale moves, its song may pause. Silence returns, not empty, but full of possibility. Other sounds drift through, from waves above to distant movements below. The ocean hums softly with life. The whale listens as much as it speaks. You are invited to listen too, not with effort, but with openness. There is nothing you need to interpret. The feeling alone is enough. Sound becomes a reminder that even in vast spaces, nothing is truly disconnected. As this chapter gently settles, the songs continue on, traveling farther than sight, softening distance into something manageable. Ahead, movement carries these voices across long paths through the sea, following ancient routes shaped by memory, water, and time, and waiting quietly to be traced once more. You begin to sense movement not as motion, but as continuation. Across the wide surface of the planet, the ocean never truly rests, yet it never rushes either. Currents shift, temperatures change, and seasons pass quietly overhead. Within this steady restlessness, the blue whale follows paths that are older than memory, traveling without haste, guided by patterns written gently into water and time. Migration here does not feel like departure or arrival. It feels like breathing, a slow expansion, a gradual return. The whale does not mark the start of a journey with urgency. There is no signal to begin, no sudden turn. Instead, movement emerges naturally, prompted by subtle changes in light, temperature, and the quiet availability of food. The body senses these cues long before the mind could name them. As the whale moves, distance loses its sharp edges. Thousands of kilometers stretch out, not as obstacles, but as familiar passages. These routes have been traveled again and again, shaped by generations that learned where warmth gathers and where nourishment waits. The ocean remembers even when no single whale carries the whole map. Knowledge lives in motion itself. You imagine the whale gliding along invisible highways formed by currents. These moving rivers within the sea guide travel gently, offering support without direction. Swimming with the flow conserves energy, allowing progress without strain. The whale adjusts its path slightly, aligning with these subtle forces rather than resisting them. Movement becomes cooperation. The planet beneath this journey feels vast but continuous. There are no borders in the water, no lines to cross, only gradual shifts. Cold gives way to warmth. Light grows longer, then fades. These changes do not demand attention. They are noticed quietly, influencing behavior without commanding it. You may feel how this kind of travel softens the idea of time. Days blend into weeks. Weeks stretch into months. The journey does not need to be completed quickly to be meaningful. It simply unfolds, step by step, stroke by stroke, breath by breath. The whale's body is prepared for this endurance. Muscles work slowly, efficiently. Fat stores provide steady energy, released over long periods. Nothing is wasted, nothing is hurried. The design supports patience, allowing travel across oceans without exhaustion. As the whale moves, it is rarely alone. Other lives intersect briefly, then drift away. Birds skim the surface above. Smaller whales pass at a distance. Fish scatter and regroup. These encounters do not interrupt the journey. They are part of the shared rhythm of the sea, moments of overlap within a larger flow. Navigation here relies on more than sight. The whale senses changes in Earth's magnetic field, subtle variations that provide orientation across open water. Sound plays a role as well, echoing off distant features, offering hints of position. Temperature gradients guide depth and direction. All of this information arrives gently, without urgency, allowing choices to form slowly. You notice how little effort this requires. There is no constant decision-making. The body responds instinctively, shaped by patterns learned over time. This trust in internal guidance feels calming, like following a familiar path in low light, knowing your feet will find the way. As migration continues, the ocean's restlessness becomes soothing rather than chaotic. Waves rise and fall. Storms pass overhead, felt only as distant pressure changes below. The whale adjusts depth, riding beneath turbulence, remaining steady. Even when the surface is unsettled, calm can be found below. You may feel invited to do the same. To let the surface noise of thoughts drift above while you settle into something quieter underneath. There is nothing you need to resolve right now. The journey continues whether you watch closely or not. The whale does not travel to escape or to seek novelty. It travels to remain in balance with the planet's cycles. Feeding grounds shift with seasons. Breeding areas offer warmth and safety. Migration connects these needs without drama. It is simply what keeps life aligned with change. Over years, these paths remain remarkably consistent. Small adjustments occur, but the overall flow persists. This consistency offers reassurance. The planet may feel restless, but it is also reliable. Patterns repeat, cycles return, movement leads back to familiar places. As the whale nears warmer waters, its pace remains unchanged. Arrival is not celebrated. It simply happens gradually, almost unnoticed. The water feels different. Light behaves differently. The body responds without thought, easing into a new phase of the cycle. You may notice how comforting this lack of urgency feels. There is no race to the destination. The journey itself is the purpose. Each moment of movement supports the next, forming a continuous line rather than a series of events. The whale will eventually turn again, guided by the same subtle cues. Nothing is forced. Nothing is abrupt. Migration is a long conversation between body and planet, carried out quietly over years and lifetimes. As this chapter gently settles, the whale continues along its ancient route, moving with the slow breath of Earth itself. Ahead, these long paths lead toward moments of rest and quiet awareness, where movement softens into stillness and drifting becomes its own gentle form of travel. You begin to notice a quieter kind of rest, one that does not require stopping. In the ocean, stillness and movement are not opposites. They exist together, layered gently, allowing life to continue without tension. The blue whale drifts through water that supports every part of its body, and within that drifting, rest unfolds naturally. Nothing has to be held up. Nothing has to be kept alert. As the whale moves forward, its pace remains slow and even. Muscles engage just enough to guide direction, then soften again. The water carries most of the weight, absorbing effort and returning it as lift. This shared support allows motion to feel like floating, even while distance is covered. The body is active, yet deeply relaxed. You may imagine how this feels, like lying back while being gently moved along. There is awareness, but it is diffuse, spread out rather than focused. The whale does not shut down completely. It remains responsive to its surroundings, sensing changes in pressure and sound. Yet this awareness does not demand constant attention. It hums quietly in the background, allowing rest to take shape within motion. In long stretches between feeding or surfacing, the whale enters a state where activity slows even further. Brain activity shifts subtly, reducing energy use while maintaining essential functions. This is not sleep in the way humans often imagine it, but it carries similar qualities. Recovery happens, systems reset, balance is restored. The ocean encourages this state. Currents move steadily, offering gentle forward motion without effort. Temperature remains stable at depth, reducing the need for constant adjustment. Light dims, softening stimulation. Everything about the environment invites the body to let go of unnecessary tension. You might feel this invitation yourself. There is nothing you need to monitor closely. you can allow your attention to drift, knowing that awareness will return if needed. Like the whale, you are supported by something larger, something steady beneath you. Even while resting, the whale continues to breathe when necessary, surface when needed, and adjust course gently. These actions emerge without urgency, guided by instinct and internal timing. There is no sharp division between rest and action. One flows into the other seamlessly. As the whale drifts, its massive body remains aligned with gravity and buoyancy in perfect balance. Small adjustments keep it stable, preventing roll or tilt. These corrections happen quietly, without effort. The body knows how to maintain equilibrium without conscious thought. You imagine how sound changes during these moments. External noise fades. Internal rhythms become more noticeable. The slow beat of the heart, the subtle movement of water along skin, are the distant echo of the ocean's own quiet sounds. This soundscape supports rest, wrapping the whale in a cocoon of low vibration and calm. Resting in motion allows the whale to conserve energy over long periods. Instead of stopping completely, which could disrupt buoyancy or positioning, drifting maintains stability. Energy use drops, yet the body remains prepared. This strategy supports long migrations and extended dives, allowing endurance without exhaustion. You may notice how this idea shifts your understanding of rest. It does not have to mean stopping everything. It can mean softening effort, reducing resistance, allowing support to do more of the work. Even thoughts can move gently without demanding engagement. At times, the whale enters a deeper form of rest, where responsiveness narrows further. One hemisphere of the brain may remain more alert, while the other slows, allowing recovery without full unconsciousness. This partial rest ensures safety while still offering renewal. Balance is maintained between awareness and surrender. The ocean continues to move around the whale, indifferent yet supportive. Waves pass far above, currents slide beneath. The whale remains within this movement, not fighting it, not clinging to control. Trust develops over time, reinforced by countless moments of safe drifting. You might sense your own body responding to this imagery. Muscles loosen slightly, breathing becomes smoother, thoughts lose their sharp edges. There is no need to force relaxation. It happens naturally when effort fades. Resting in motion also shapes how time is experienced. Without clear markers of activity and rest, moments blend together. There is no pressure to measure progress. The whale does not count hours of rest or distance traveled. It simply continues, allowing each state to support the next. As the whale drifts, it remains aware of its surroundings through subtle cues. Pressure changes indicate depth. Sound reveals distant movement. These signals are processed quietly, without urgency. Awareness remains, but it does not interrupt rest. It coexists with it. This coexistence feels gentle, reassuring. You are not required to choose between being awake or asleep. You can exist somewhere in between, letting awareness soften without disappearing completely. The whale's size enhances this ability to rest while moving. Larger bodies lose heat more slowly, maintain momentum longer, and require fewer rapid adjustments. Scale supports steadiness. A movement smooths out. Everything slows naturally. As the chapter continues, drifting becomes the dominant feeling. The whale moves forward, but the movement feels almost secondary to the rest itself. The ocean carries, the body yields, and time stretches gently. You may feel invited to drift as well, to let the flow of words carry you without needing to follow every detail. There is nothing you need to remember, nothing you need to solve. Like the whale, you are allowed to rest within motion. Eventually, subtle changes begin to emerge. Depth shifts. Light grows slightly brighter or dimmer. These changes signal transitions, guiding the whale toward the next phase without breaking the calm. Rest prepares the body for what comes next without announcing it. As this chapter settles, the whale continues drifting, supported by water and instinct, balanced between awareness and rest. Ahead, this gentle state opens into quieter interactions with others nearby, where shared spaces and overlapping lives unfold softly within the same calm sea, waiting just beyond this drifting stillness. You begin to feel how time stretches when nothing is rushing it forward. In the ocean, aging does not arrive as a sudden wait. It unfolds quietly, almost invisibly, carried along by water that looks much the same from one decade to the next. The blue whale moves through these years without marking them, its body changing gradually, its awareness shaped more by continuity than by loss. Growing old here is not about enduring hardship. It is about remaining present long enough to witness slow change. The whale's life spans seasons that repeat again and again. Warm waters return, cold waters follow. Feeding grounds bloom, fade, and bloom once more. These cycles create a sense of familiarity that softens the passage of years. The whale does not measure age by counting time, but by sensing patterns that come back, reliable and steady. Each return feels less like repetition and more like reassurance. As decades pass, the whale's body carries the record of experience quietly. Scars appear and pale with time, blending into skin marked by encounters with ice, other whales, and the subtle friction of the sea itself. These marks do not announce age. They simply exist, woven into the body's surface like notes in a long, calm story. Nothing needs to be explained or hidden. Internally, change continues at a patient pace. Growth slows and then steadies. Metabolism remains efficient, yet attuned to long-term balance rather than rapid output. Energy is used carefully, supporting a life that unfolds over many years without dramatic peaks or declines. This stability allows the whale to remain strong without needing to push against time. You may notice how different this feels from the way aging is often imagined. Here, there is no urgency to achieve everything quickly. There is no sense of running out. Instead, there is space to observe, to drift, to allow experiences to accumulate naturally. Time feels like a wide river rather than a narrowing path. The ocean plays a central role in this calm aging. Its temperatures shift slowly. Its chemistry changes gradually. Even large environmental movements unfold over years rather than moments. This steadiness provides a backdrop that supports long life. The whale is rarely startled by sudden change. Adjustments happen incrementally, allowing adaptation without stress. As the whale grows older, its movements may become even more economical. Each stroke of the tail is measured. Each dive is planned by instinct, refined over years. There is wisdom in this efficiency, a knowledge of when to move and when to rest that comes only with time. Nothing is wasted, nothing is forced. You imagine how this accumulated experience feels. Familiar routes through the ocean, known depths and currents, sounds that carry recognizable patterns. The whale does not need to explore constantly to feel fulfilled. Familiarity itself becomes comforting, offering a sense of belonging within vast space. Memory here is not stored as images or narratives. It lives in the body. Muscles remember paths. The nervous system recognizes cues. Responses emerge without conscious thought. This embodied memory allows the whale to navigate the world smoothly, without hesitation. Aging deepens this fluency rather than diminishing it. The heart continues its steady rhythm, beating through years with the same calm persistence. Lungs expand and contract with practiced ease. Systems that support life remain reliable, refined by time rather than worn down by it. The whale's longevity is not accidental. It is the result of balance maintained over decades. You may feel how this perspective softens your own sense of time. There is no need to rush through moments. You are allowed to let experiences settle fully before moving on. Like the whale, you can trust that life unfolds at its own pace, without requiring constant acceleration. As the whale ages, it may encounter changes in its environment, shifts in prey availability, alterations in migration patterns, new sounds moving through the water. These changes are absorbed gradually, met with adjustment rather than alarm. Flexibility grows alongside experience, allowing the whale to remain aligned with a changing world. The ocean remains a steady companion through all of this. It does not judge age. It does not demand youth. It offers the same support to bodies young and old alike. Water continues to lift, carry, and cushion movement, allowing life to persist without sharp boundaries between stages. You notice how the whale's presence feels deeply settled. There is no need to announce itself, no need to compete. Existence itself feels sufficient. This quiet confidence emerges naturally from having lived long enough to know that urgency is rarely required. As years layer upon years, the whale becomes part of the ocean's memory. Its movements contribute to patterns that younger whales will follow. Its songs blend with others, shaping soundscapes that carry history forward. Aging here is not isolation. It is integration into something larger. You may feel comforted by this sense of belonging. Time does not separate the whale from the world. It binds it more closely, weaving individual life into the fabric of the sea. The whale continues to travel, feed, rest, and breathe as it always has. There are no dramatic markers of age, only subtle shifts that accumulate gently. Life remains recognizable, familiar, calm. As this chapter draws to a close, you are left with the image of time moving softly, without pressure, carried by an ocean that changes slowly and steadily. Ahead, this long life continues alongside others, where shared spaces and quiet coexistence shape the next unfolding moment, waiting calmly beyond these many years. You widen your awareness now, letting the ocean feel less like a single path and more like a living community. The blue whale no longer moves alone in your imagination. Around it, other lives drift, swim, rise, and sink, each following their own quiet rhythms. The sea feels populated, yet never crowded. Space is shared without conflict, shaped by understanding rather than competition. As the whale glides forward, smaller creatures adjust gently to its presence. Fish shift direction in loose formations, not fleeing in fear, but responding to subtle changes in pressure and movement. Plankton drift onward, carried by currents indifferent to size. Seabirds skim the surface far above, their shadows passing briefly, never interrupting the calm below. Everything continues. You notice how scale loses its dominance here. The whale is immense, yet it does not command attention by force. Its size does not demand silence or submission. Instead, it moves carefully, aware of the delicate balance around it. The ocean does not belong to the largest body within it. It belongs to all who move through it. Sound carries softly between lives. Low tones travel beneath higher ones, layering communication without collision. Each species occupies its own range, its own acoustic space, allowing messages to pass without confusion. The water becomes a shared medium, organizing interaction quietly and efficiently. The whale's feeding does not erase the presence of others. Clouds of small life thin and then reform. Predators and prey exist within cycles that replenish themselves over time. No single action empties the sea. Balance is maintained through patience, through limits respected instinctively. You may feel how different this balance feels from struggle. There is no frantic race for resources. Abundance is spread out, arriving in pulses rather than floods. Lives adapt to these rhythms, learning when to gather and when to wait. The sea teaches restraint through repetition. As the whale travels, it may pass other whales at a distance. They do not always converge. Sometimes they parallel one another briefly, then drift apart again. Connection does not require closeness. Shared direction is enough. Each continues without needing to assert presence. The ocean floor far below hosts its own quiet community. Creatures move slowly there, shaped by darkness and pressure. Their lives unfold unseen, yet they contribute to the same system. Nutrients rise from depth. Energy cycles upward. Everything participates, whether visible or not. You sense how the ocean holds all of this without judgment. It does not favor speed over slowness or size over subtlety. It offers space for many forms of life to coexist, each finding a place within the whole. This inclusiveness feels calming, like knowing there is room to exist without proving worth. The whale's passage leaves little trace. Water closes behind it, smooth and unmarked. This gentleness allows others to follow without disruption. Paths overlap without erasing one another. Movement becomes layered rather than linear. You may notice how this shared existence feels in your own body. There is no need to push forward aggressively. You can move alongside others, aware but not competing. Presence does not diminish when shared. It deepens. Even moments of tension in the ocean resolve quietly. When currents converge, they mix rather than clash. When predators hunt, balance is restored through cycles rather than dominance. Life continues without needing constant intervention. The whale remains part of this balance, not above it. Its size brings responsibility rather than power. Movements are measured. Interactions are minimal. The whale exists as a participant, not a ruler. As the chapter settles, the sea feels wide enough to hold many stories at once. Lives overlap gently, each following its own calm rhythm. Ahead, this shared existence gives way to quieter vulnerabilities, places where balance feels delicate and awareness deepens, waiting softly beyond this calm harmony. You begin to notice a different quality in the water now. The ocean feels quieter, not empty, but attentive, as if it is listening to itself. This silence is not sudden. It arrives gradually, layered over familiar sounds, softening them rather than erasing them. The blue whale moves within this quieter space with the same calm presence as before. Yet something in the atmosphere feels more reflective, more aware of how delicate balance can be. Silence in the ocean does not mean nothing is happening. Life continues, processes unfold, currents move, and bodies breathe. Yet there are moments when sound thins, when activity slows just enough for awareness to deepen. The whale seems to sense these moments instinctively, adjusting movement and attention without fear or urgency. As you imagine this quiet, you may feel how it invites listening rather than reaction. There is no alarm here, no signal that something is wrong. Instead, there is an invitation to notice, to be present with subtle change. The whale does not rush to fill the silence with sound. It allows it to exist, trusting that quiet can carry meaning too. The ocean has always known vulnerability. Temperatures shift, ice advances and retreats. Nutrient flows change slowly over time. These variations are part of the system's long memory. The whale has evolved within this reality, shaped by change that happens over years and centuries rather than moments. Awareness of fragility does not translate into panic. It translates into adaptation. You sense how the whale's body responds to subtle cues. Slight changes in water chemistry, in temperature, in the presence or absence of familiar sounds. These signals are received gently, processed without urgency. The whale adjusts depth, direction, or timing in response, maintaining balance through small, thoughtful shifts rather than dramatic action. Silence also carries information. In quieter waters, the whale's own sounds travel differently, returning with altered echoes. These changes are noticed, not feared. The ocean communicates through absence as much as through presence, offering guidance without force. You may feel how reassuring this approach is. There is no need to brace yourself against what might happen. Awareness alone is enough. The whale does not need to solve every change immediately. It trusts that listening will reveal the right response over time. As the ocean quiets, other lives become more noticeable in subtle ways. The gentle movement of plankton, the distant pulse of currents, the soft presence of other whales far away, sensed rather than heard. Everything continues, even in reduced volume. Life does not vanish when things become quieter. It simply becomes more delicate. The whale's own behavior reflects this sensitivity. Movements become even more measured. Energy is conserved. Interactions are minimized. This is not withdrawal, but respect for balance. The whale remains engaged with its environment, just with lighter touch. You may notice how this mirrors moments in your own life when slowing down brings clarity rather than loss. Quiet does not have to be uncomfortable. It can be a space where understanding settles more deeply. The ocean holds vulnerability without dramatizing it. It does not announce change loudly. It allows shifts to happen gradually, offering time for adjustment. The whale lives within this patience, shaped by it, supported by it. Sound, when it returns, feels more intentional. Each call is placed carefully, released into water that listens closely. Silence frames sound, giving it context and meaning. The whale does not fill every moment with communication. It trusts that what needs to be shared will find its way. You may feel how this trust eases tension. There is nothing you need to anticipate, nothing you need to prepare for right now. Awareness itself is enough. As the chapter unfolds, vulnerability feels less like weakness and more like openness. The ocean remains vast, but its quiet moments reveal how interconnected everything is. Small changes ripple outward, influencing larger patterns over time. The whale continues to move, breathe, and rest within this reflective silence. It does not isolate itself from change, nor does it confront it aggressively. It remains present, responsive, and calm. You are held in this calm as well. There is no cause for concern, only an invitation to notice how stillness can be supportive, how quiet can hold life gently without breaking it. As this chapter gently settles, the silence remains, not empty, but full of awareness. Ahead, this quiet attention opens into a deeper understanding of how balance is maintained over time, where fragility and resilience meet softly in the wide, patient sea, waiting just beyond this listening stillness. You begin to sense survival in a new way, not as struggle or resistance, but as quiet continuity. In the ocean, survival does not announce itself with force. It unfolds slowly, shaped by patience and adaptability rather than speed or strength. The blue whale embodies this softness, living not by overpowering its environment, but by yielding to it in thoughtful ways. Here, thriving is not about constant growth or endless effort. It is about knowing when to move and when to rest, when to feed and when to wait. The whale survives because it listens closely to its surroundings, adjusting gently rather than pushing forward blindly. This responsiveness allows life to continue without exhaustion. As you imagine the whale moving through changing waters, you notice how its behavior remains calm even as conditions shift. Temperatures vary. The food availability rises and falls. Sounds change. None of this provokes panic. Instead, small adjustments emerge naturally, guided by instinct refined over generations. Survival becomes a series of quiet choices made without urgency. The whale's size, often associated with power, reveals another quality here. Large bodies change slowly. They retain heat, maintain momentum, and smooth out fluctuations. This steadiness supports resilience, allowing the whale to endure changes that might overwhelm smaller, faster lives. Strength feels soft, expressed through stability rather than force. You may notice how comforting this perspective feels. Survival does not require constant vigilance. It allows for trust, for the belief that adaptation can happen gently over time. Like the whale, you do not need to anticipate every challenge. You can respond when changes arise, one small adjustment at a time. The ocean itself teaches this lesson. It does not resist change, nor does it rush toward it. It shifts gradually, carrying warmth and nutrients across the planet, redistributing energy patiently. Life that thrives here learns to move with these changes rather than against them. Survival becomes cooperation. The whale's body reflects this cooperation in countless ways. Its movements conserve energy. Its feeding aligns with natural cycles. Its migrations follow seasonal rhythms. Nothing is forced. Everything unfolds in its time. This alignment reduces stress, supporting longevity rather than short-term success. You sense how this gentleness extends to interactions with others. The whale does not compete aggressively for space or resources. It shares the sea, so trusting that balance will be maintained through cycles larger than any single life. Survival here is communal, woven into the fabric of the ecosystem. Even vulnerability fits into this picture. The whale is not invincible. It relies on stable conditions, on healthy oceans, on patterns that have held for centuries. Yet this reliance does not translate into fragility. It fosters awareness, sensitivity to change, and the ability to adjust when needed. Gentleness becomes a form of intelligence. You may feel how this reframes your own understanding of resilience. Being gentle does not mean being weak. It means being flexible, responsive, and patient. It means allowing strength to express itself quietly, without urgency or display. As the whale continues its journey, survival appears less like a battle and more like a long conversation with the world. Each movement responds to what the ocean offers. Each pause allows for recalibration. Life continues, not because it fights relentlessly, but because it adapts thoughtfully. There is nothing you need to do while listening. You can allow this idea to settle without effort. Like the whale, you are supported by processes that continue quietly in the background. Breathing happens, circulation flows, balance maintains itself. The whale's persistence across decades becomes a testament to this gentle approach. It does not rush to reproduce or consume. It invests in long-term stability, ensuring that life can continue smoothly rather than burn brightly and fade quickly. Survival stretches across time, unhurried. You imagine the whale drifting onward, not striving, not resisting. Its presence feels calm, steady, assured. This calm persistence does not draw attention to itself. It simply exists, quietly effective. As the chapter unfolds, the idea of survival softens further. It becomes less about avoiding loss and more about sustaining harmony. The whale thrives because it remains in relationship with its environment, attentive without being anxious. You may notice how this understanding eases tension within you. There is no need to force outcomes. You can trust that adaptability will emerge when needed. Like the whale, you can move gently through change, allowing time to do much of the work. The ocean remains wide and patient, offering space for this gentle survival to continue. Nothing demands urgency. Everything unfolds at its own pace. As this chapter gently settles, the blue whale continues on, living proof that endurance can be soft and strength can be quiet. Ahead, this calm persistence opens into a final reflection, where the journey itself begins to slow, inviting you to rest within the wide stillness that remains, waiting peacefully beyond the next gentle turn. You begin to feel the journey easing, not stopping, just widening. The ocean stretches out again, open and calm, as if it has been quietly waiting for this moment. The blue whale continues to move within it, but now the movement feels less like travel and more like belonging. There is no direction that needs to be followed, no destination that needs to be reached. Everything feels settled into place. The water around you seems softer somehow, layered with depth and distance. Light fades gradually as it always has, filtering down in long, gentle bands before dissolving into blue. The whale's body blends into this color, no longer standing apart from its surroundings. Size, shape, and motion all soften into one continuous presence, held effortlessly by the sea. You may notice how quiet the world feels here. Not empty, but steady. Currents continue to flow beneath the surface, carrying warmth and nutrients across vast distances. Small lives drift and turn within them, following patterns older than memory. Nothing has paused. Everything continues, just without drawing attention to itself. The whale drifts now, not because it is tired, but because drifting is enough. Its body remains aligned with water and gravity, balanced in a way that requires no effort. Muscles rest. Awareness softens. Breath comes and goes when needed, unremarkable and calm. This is not an ending. It is a settling. You may feel invited to settle too. There is nothing you need to recall from earlier chapters, no facts to hold on to. The ideas have already passed through you, doing their quiet work. Like nutrients absorbed slowly, they no longer need your attention. The ocean feels vast again, not overwhelming, just wide. A place where time stretches comfortably, where change happens slowly enough to be absorbed without shock. The whale exists within this scale naturally, neither resisting it nor trying to master it. It simply moves with it, moment by moment. As the whale drifts, it passes through layers of water that differ subtly in temperature and density. Each layer supports it in a slightly different way, offering lift here, guidance there. These changes are gentle, almost imperceptible, yet they shape movement continuously. The sea is always in conversation with itself. You may notice how this mirrors your own experience right now. Sensations shift slightly. Awareness drifts. Thoughts slow. There is no need to focus on any one thing. You can allow the whole experience to blur softly, like edges fading in low light. The whale does not announce its presence. It does not leave a trail. Water closes behind it smoothly, restoring stillness. This quiet passage feels reassuring. Life can move through the world without disruption. Existence does not require noise. Above, the surface continues its gentle rise and fall. Waves travel across the planet, shaped by distant winds and the pull of the moon. Below, the deep remains calm and steady. The whale occupies this middle space, connected to both, belonging fully to neither. It is held by the balance between them. You may sense how comforting this in-between place feels. Not fully awake, not fully asleep, just drifting, supported. There is nothing you need to do to maintain this state. It arrives naturally when effort fades. The whale's long life continues beyond this moment. It will feed again, migrate again, rest again. These cycles do not need to be followed now. They exist independently, unfolding quietly whether or not they are observed. The ocean does not depend on witnesses to continue. You are free to let go of curiosity now, if you wish, or to let it rest gently, without questions. The journey has already offered what it needed to offer. There is no urgency to understand more. As this final chapter opens fully into stillness, notice how wide and calm everything feels. The planet continues its slow movements. The sea continues its quiet work. Life continues, balanced and patient, whether attention rests on it or not. If these slow explorations bring you comfort, you may support the channel in any small way that feels natural, allowing others to find this same quiet space when they need it. But there is no need to think about that now. For now, there is nothing to decide and nowhere to go. Let your thoughts soften. Let your muscles relax. Allow the gentle rhythm of breath to carry you, just as the ocean carries the whale. The wide blue remains, open and steady, holding everything without effort as the night continues on its own calm path, one peaceful breath at a time.